Yeah, so we've heard a lot about the different girls who were abused, but focusing in on one story like this, I think is going to give you a sense of the horrors that happened during this Epstein regime, these years, and think about all the people who helped support this, as Anna tells you this heartbreaking story what happened to this girl.
So if you search for it, you can find her actual diary in which she wrote in her diary as this abuse was happening to her. And she names names. She wrote in code. I mean, it was really easy to decipher what she was saying, but I'm going to give you these screenshots from the FBI's interpretation of what she was writing in code, okay? So first, here's what we know about the girl who is now much older, but at the time she was 16. She has autism and Down syndrome. She was born with mosaic Down syndrome, which is apparently a rare condition which gave her some of the features of typical Down syndrome, but did not affect her physical appearance at all. In fact, in the diary, she actually writes about her autism. We'll get to that in just a second. She talks a little bit about how she doesn't like that people are always like making fun of Spirit Airlines, because Spirit happens to be the only airline company that's made accommodations for autistic people.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's just, evil exists, man. It just does, and I want to do something about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So they liked her because they thought she was easier to take advantage of because of her condition. And then apparently she was really beautiful, and they kept talking about her beautiful blonde hair and blue eyes, and how she was like a porcelain doll. And so in the way that they targeted people they thought were easier to take advantage of is extra sickening.
Yep.
And wait till you get to what one of the most top finance people in the world might have done to her, which is just an extra layer.
So in her diary, she writes about getting impregnated, and in some of those instances, forced to have an abortion. In other instances, she did give birth. I mean, if we lived in an actual democracy in a country that cared about justice, we would find out what happened to those children, right? But we have no idea. Now, let's get to what she wrote in her diary. Again, this was written down by the FBI from her diary, interpretations from her diary. She says, a couple of months and 2 pink lines with a hold on being with others until after it was positive. So obviously she's talking about a pregnancy test there. I want to die. Why didn't she protect me? I'm assuming she's talking about Ghislaine Maxwell there, because she makes references to Ghislaine throughout her diary.
Hey guys, just real quick, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We are breaking down all the current events right now, what's going on, and we're keeping the Epstein files relevant. Donald Trump may have started a war to avoid talking about the Epstein files. Or who knows what's going on in his crazy mind to start a war. Anyway, I know it's Sunday. People want to have a family day. It's family day for me usually, but I'm just doing this quick live. Well, let's get into it. We're not letting this Epstein files thing go. If you're new, guys, go ahead and subscribe. Let me know, comment what you think about the Epstein files and Donald Trump's involvement. Give me a yes or a no if you think Donald Trump was 100% involved in what went on with Epstein, or no if you think he's, like he says, totally exonerated. Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to live stream more. Never give up, they say. Keep up with the live stream. I'm trying to live stream more because it seems like what people are most interested in is live streams. Keep the household together and find time to live stream and make videos. It takes a lot of time. If you guys want to help out the channel, when you buy your next Samsung phone, and I do all my videos on Samsung phone, use my link. You don't have to. If you really want to help out the channel, subscribe, comment, hit notifications. Trump redacted himself 38,000 times at least. Yeah, I mean, he's mentioned 38,000 times. I think he redacted himself more than that, and more than just redaction, they just didn't release the files. And I think this just came out. You know, Congress forced them to admit that they didn't release all the files that involved Donald Trump, and I think they will be released eventually. I mean, basically Trump's back's against the wall because he knows he's guilty. So that's why he started the war in Iran. One of the reasons. Another reason is that Israel has dirt on him through the Epstein files and through Epstein, you know, because Epstein worked for Israel, basically. Let's get back to the video here. Thank you guys for watching again. Please subscribe.
And
I'm only a few away from 3,000
sometimes
subscribers.
she protects her, sometimes she doesn't. As long as I'm wearing what you want, there is no respect for me as a human. I am nothing but your
If
property.
you guys didn't see the beginning of this is in the diary of a 13-year-old girl at the time who Trump and Epstein raped. She had Down syndrome, but she was beautiful, you know, and there was no outward signs of Down syndrome, so they thought that raping her, they could get away with it because, you know, she has Down syndrome. If you don't know what that is, look it up, but it's basically something you're born with, which makes you not as intelligent in some areas as others.
Property and incubator. You only trust me when I'm under your complete control. I will never trust another man ever. I am the only one who provides and sacrifices everything. I give and give out of terror, and you take all of me. You need me to continue keeping us all connected. Okay, so there she is mentioning that she's like an incubator. She continues, my heart belonged to her. She was so very beautiful. She was perfect. I can't bring myself to write what happened. I am beyond broken. She's talking about a baby here. Okay? I only got 10 to 15 minutes to hold and feed her before they took her. She is mine. I want her back. Distraught.
So guys, this is the story of one person. Never went to a court of law. We don't know, especially as you get names later in the story. You know, we've got to find a way to, as you know, as we're all distraught, not to jump to complete conclusions, right? But we also don't have any reason to doubt this particular story. There are some other stories that seem outlandish. You don't know where it came from, but this is a direct Epstein victim, and so it is compelling. At the same time, we're not reaching any conclusions because that is an incredibly strange story about taking the baby away. I have no idea what that means, and God, I would love to get it into a court of law. God, I would love to have some sort of justice. By the way, in either direction, if you're accused of any of this is some of the worst things you could possibly be accused of. I know I would want to clear my name. So are we ever going to get into a court of law and find justice in either direction?
No, the country's run by pedophiles. Anyway, let me continue. She detailed one of her abortions in her diary. She wrote, close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes, don't speak. She doesn't talk. I can't stop shaking and it's been a week. A decision was made, but I can't tell Jeffrey. These
Thanks
things
for
happen.
watching.
Why didn't I close my eyes fast enough? The doctor was different again, I think from Israel. He had kind eyes, but didn't speak directly to me. This was different. She continues. A shot and those rod-like things had a hook and so much pain. Ghislaine said to push all the pain away. I don't understand. Blood and water all over the bed. And she was right. Like a feeling when your tummy hurts and you have to push. She said to close my eyes and put her hands over my eyes, but I didn't close them because of these tiny cries. I'm so lost. I saw between her fingers this tiny head and body in the doctor's hands. It reached its tiny arm up and had a tiny foot. I closed my eyes and no more. In her diary, there are multiple examples of her begging for help, begging for someone to find her, begging for someone to save her. I'll give you one example. Please release me from this torture and hell.
Yeah. So it's interesting that so far, not a lot of coverage of some of these harrowing stories within the files. I get some of it, which is, hey, listen, it's hard to verify, so what do we do with this then? But everybody's already reading these, and it's so what's happened is there's an interesting situation now where a lot of people online know this, but none of the shows are covering it. So, and none of the legacy media is covering it. So there's two different worlds. People who understand some of the horrors that happen, and others who are kind of clueless about who did it, why they did it, what did they do, how bad was it. So our job is to bring this to you and give you the context of, hey, it's, without going to court of law, impossible to know if it's exactly right or not. By the way, the overall
thank you,
account
Natasha.
could be right, but details could be wrong, right? So I tell you that again before we give you some names here that she mentioned, and then so take it always something that isn't proven in court with some grain of salt. Your decision on how you choose to deal with this information. But our job is to present that information to you and not to hide it from you.
So she does name names in her diary. We'll begin with someone who allegedly committed suicide in prison, Jean-Luc Brunel. He was one of the people who was supplying girls to Epstein. She writes in her diary, Jean-Luc were being sent back, punishment for trying to run. Why can no one help me? Ghislaine is gone. I am so lost and my heart is broken. Is this my destiny?
So one quick thing about Jean-Luc Brunel. So I didn't know much about him until recently. So he's a guy who's in the modeling business, and then they get involved in Epstein's assembly line of young underage girls who get funneled to powerful people, yes, including Donald Trump, but including many others that you're seeing in these. So in fact, I think that the press does an interesting job of almost diverting your attention by just talking about the famous people and not about who organized this. I mean, look at the level of detail here. This is a very organized process. If you believe the story, she gets shuttled around between different people. You're going to see more of that in a second. And there's an organization here, right? And then when I found out that Jean-Luc Brunel died in prison,
Committed suicide
in prison. I was like, oh. And then as you were looking through the files, there's another woman who said she was part of it and that they were going to kill her, and then she dies right afterwards. And so there's a lot of suicides around this story, and I now don't believe any of them were suicides. And
I
so
agree, yeah.
you could say, how dare you? The government has already ordained it that.
Well-
You must bow to the government. The same government that was hiding all this?
Yeah, the government has
No.
lost credibility.
Yeah,
Okay.
the government has zero
Yeah.
credibility.
And
It
so
doesn't
have-
matter who's in charge. Biden, Trump, Democrats, or Republicans, they all have zero credibility.
So let's move on to the financier, who was also mentioned in her diary. And the financier I'm referring to is investment banker Leon Black. So this next graphic will show you what I mean when I say that she writes in code. It's not really code. So let's take a look at the next graphic, graphic 7. It's another poem that she titled Stopped Dead. And right next to the title of the poem, you'll see the name Leon Black. That's the way that she would write in code, right? Instead of writing from the left side to the right, she would write words up and down like that. Okay, so she mentions Leon Black there, but that was the only time she mentions Leon Black. Let's go to the next one. So she met Black in New York City in 2000, and he was introduced to her as Epstein's special friend. So this is directly from her diary entry about this, and decoded, it says the following. Even though Ghislaine said it was best to take me home because Mr. Black is so important for some reason, my health, this is going to be hell to pay, or there is going to be hell to pay. I ruined their trio, and I am dramatic. When that fat F bit me, he threw me on the floor and got blood all over Jeffrey's carpet, and I am the issue? Who the F bites someone? Sick. No one is that important, and Leon can go F himself. I hate New York. So there had been some reporting about this a few years ago, actually. So in 2023, I came across this Newsweek piece about allegations made against Leon Black. And I'm going to read you the excerpts. Black retired from his investment firm Apollo in July 2021 after a review found he paid Epstein $158 million for financial advice between 2012 and 2017 after the pedophile's criminal conviction. Interesting. So as I read that piece, it did make mention of one of Epstein's victims accusing Leon Black of biting her in her private area to the point where she bled.
Yeah, so there's even more harrowing stuff in there about the nature of that particular rape. About how she was expecting that he was going to be like Epstein, and Epstein gets massages and then he proceeds to sex, etc., and is apparently not usually violent. Whereas Leon Black slammed her on the massage table, according to her, so hard that it knocked the wind out of her, and then he started ripping her clothes off, bit her, and she started screaming, and he would constantly cover her mouth. And so now, guys, in terms of how do you judge this one, first of all, everyone makes their own judgment call about things that haven't been proven in court. But $158 million. Well, he says it was for financial advice. Wait a minute, Leon Black is one of the top financiers in the world. If you need financial advice and you need to pay $158 million for it, no one would ever hire you again.
That wasn't for financial
And there's no way in the world that one financial guru asked anyone else, or let alone Epstein, for financial advice and pays them $158 million for it? No. So you have a good sense there. And by the way, Leon Black is, in retreat over this, and he quit Apollo over that.
He should be hanged for this.
If it's true.
Prosecuted, okay, we still haven't, a justice system, but he should be investigated, he should be prosecuted, and if convicted, let's bring public hangings. By the way, I don't know if people know yet, but let me be abundantly clear. I have changed my stance on the death penalty. I think in some cases, the death penalty makes sense. This is a perfect example, and it should be public, should be on the town square, hanged in front of the public.